Hello, hello, everybody. We are going to give this a couple of, I was going to say minutes, but we'll give it a couple of seconds for you all to join. I'm super excited today because, as you know, it is National Black Business Month, and we have been doing a series of talks here on Instagram throughout the week, throughout the month, and I'm really excited today to be hosting this one. We are going to be talking about fostering cultural connection through storytelling, something that I know is weaved throughout everyone's life. It's kind of how we live. It's through telling stories and through that communication, but it is especially true when it comes to business. So we are going to be talking to three amazing women today. Chari of ByChari, Christina of 54 Thrones, and Jacqueline of People of Color Beauty. That just so happen to be three products that we carry in the Sweet July store. And we're going to hear a little bit about their businesses, their story, and how that plays a part. The storytelling plays a part within their business. So I am going to go ahead now and look for them, and we will get started. All right, so I see one person that is supposed to be on here. I will wait for everyone so that we can add them all at once. I will say before, as we're talking, feel free to put questions in the comments here, ask anything you want, and we will try our best to get to any of your questions throughout the chat. My team is back here behind the camera to make sure everything goes smoothly. So let's learn a little bit, have some fun, and grow together, shall we? Okay, let me see if they're there. So right now, I am only seeing Jacqueline. Let's see if I can find. Doop. I'll send a request. Let's see. Here we go. And everybody should start popping up now. Let's do it. Let's see. This is very exciting for me. This new Instagram. Hi.
Hey.
Hello. How are you? There we go.
Hi.
So cool. This is to amaze me. Like technology, the fact that we can all four of us be sitting here. It's nuts. Thank you guys so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yes, I am excited to chat a little bit and learn just about your businesses and your passion behind that and how you weave storytelling throughout your business. So I guess we can jump right in. I'm not sure if your screen is the same as mine here, but we can just start from the top and work our way around clockwise. And I would love for you guys to introduce your businesses and tell us a little bit about yourself and your business, for those that don't know. So I guess, yes.
All right, I'll go first. Hi, my name is Chari Cuthbert, creative director and founder of ByChari Jewelry.
Perfect.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
What about you, Jacqueline? You want to tell them a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I'm Jacqueline, or Jackie, the founder of People of Color, which is a non-toxic, vegan, cruelty-free nail polish brand. It's made to complement the various shades of brown skin as the first thought, not an afterthought.
Love it. Love it. Love it. And Christina.
I'm Christina Funke. I'm the founder of 50 Thrones. We are an African brand, elevate, celebrate African beauty rituals.
And I have to be honest, you're glowing exactly the way the products make you glow in the store. So I'm like, you are a walking advertisement. It's incredible. It is amazing. All right, let's jump right into these questions. So each of your brands possess a unique narrative. Why was it important for this to exist alongside the products you offer? So I guess, Christina, we can start with you. Uh-oh, did she freeze there?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. So I'm Nigerian American, and so 54 Thrones, 54 Thrones, the name comes from 54 countries in Africa. And so storytelling that was going to be from when I started this brand. I really on showing sides of Africa. I think a lot of times people don't know about luxury. I wanted to show that storytelling.
Absolutely. I think you've done an incredible job of that. I mean, the products are beautiful. The storytelling is obvious. And you just, I feel like you can feel like the luxury of the brand that you've created with every single product you use. And so that's such a beautiful thing. So
thank you.
Chari, do you want to talk a little bit about your business and why storytelling is such an important part of your brand?
I think there's different aspects of our storytelling, but I think from the very beginning, for me, I created the line because I was looking for luxury at an approachable price point, and I thought that was important to bring to the market at the time that I started. Obviously, now there's a lot more luxury brands, but I thought it was important that any woman could afford something that made them feel special and that they could afford. You didn't have to break the bank to, create something or make something that made you feel good about yourself and was sentimental to you. So that became a big part of our story, and that's the story that we continue to tell now.
Amazing. And Jackie?
Yes. For me, I didn't grow up wearing nail polish. I didn't really get into nail polish until my daughter at the time, who was 3, was interested in it. I played basketball growing up, and when I realized, when looking back, that I never really saw nail polish shown on brown hands, I said, I want to create a nail polish brand. And I want to pick out colors that look good on all brown skin tones from all over the world. And I'm going to name it People of Color to literally represent that, but also to represent everyone, because we all live in a world of color. But I wanted all the shades of brown skin to be a first thought when picking out the colors. And so our collections tell the stories and celebrate people of color through the nail polishes.
That's genius. That's genius. It reminds me of this time growing up. I'll never forget. I went into the store to find like my first little lipstick that my mom was going to let me buy, and the shade did not match. It was like some icy pink color that just was not great on my skin tone. And at the time, like, I didn't see anything representing me that looked like me to understand, what worked for my skin tone or worked for me or made me feel good. And so now, fast forward years later, thank God there's businesses like all of yours, shedding light on inclusivity and diversity so that everybody has a place and can feel welcome. So I think it's such a beautiful thing. Thank you, ladies. So I'm going to ask a question. Christina, how do you think a product can contribute to someone's well-being? And on the same note, how do you want your customers to feel when they wear or use your products?
I think when brands and products are a reflection of their audience, that can add to well-being, right? So when I pick products, I want to know the values of the founder, know the values of the brand, right? Where things come from, important to me. Attributing ingredients to the actual source is really important to me. And so I think that also ties into personal choice and knowing that the products and the places that you choose to spend money at are actually speaking for you, right? So that's one aspect, and that's what we do. I think we're getting some feedback. I don't know. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, girl, I'll just keep going. But and I thought about that when I was creating our brand. I thought about when I was a little girl, my parents actually took the time to teach me about African kings and queens beyond like Nefertiti and Cleopatra. And so I wanted our brand to also like share that with people who might not have gotten that knowledge growing up. I wanted it to be a reflection of the people who our products are for. And so that would take like very intentional with how we name our products. They're named after African queens and African goddesses. Very intentional with how we source our ingredients. I wanted to work firsthand with the people that I had met over traveling around many different African countries. Like I wanted to work directly with them. I wanted to make sure that they were getting paid appropriately. I wanted to make sure that we were telling stories accurately and we're attributing these African beauty secrets to the actual people who have been using them for generations. And so all of that, the reflection of what I wanted people to experience and what I wanted them to feel when they try our products. I wanted them to feel the love, the care that I feel whenever I'm there in Africa.
Yep. That's beautiful. And honestly, it's working because so as a Black woman, I'm embarrassed to say, but not embarrassed to say, because I'm sure there's many people that can relate to me when the product came across our table and we were like, we've got to have this in the store. It's amazing. It's luxurious. It didn't dawn on me that there were 54 countries in Africa. So that alone for me had me be like, okay, it opened my eyes. I was like, I have so much to learn and I need to educate myself. So it's storytelling is working, to say the least. Outside of the products working, the storytelling's working too. Let's see. Chari, I have a question for you. Since lessons often result from failures, can you tell us about a big challenge you faced in launching your brand and what you learned from it?
Well, to be completely honest, and I think I've said this multiple times, is my biggest challenge and struggle in business is business. I mean, I never really set out to start a company. It was something that I was really passionate about. It was something that was a journey for me and for myself, and it ended up being something that was wonderful and turning into the company that it is today. But that took a lot of, missteps and mistakes, and I think the biggest lesson you can learn is learning from those mistakes and just continuing to grow. No path is paved evenly. You just have to continue to learn and grow and just, ask questions, learn from people, and continue to just, give it your best. And get a really good finance, CPA team. That's key. Do that.
That part. Ain't that the truth? That is so true.
You can figure the rest out. The creative, the marketing, all of those other things. You can figure that stuff out. The finance, the books. We need people for that. You hire your weaknesses.
Absolutely.
Very true.
Yes. Yeah, if we could do it all, then it's not worth doing. You never want to be the smartest or strongest person in the room. It's all about surrounding yourself with people that know best. So that's how I like to live. So Jackie, I'd love to ask you the same question. What lessons, lessons often result from failure. So what's one that you experienced and how did you recover and what lesson did you learn?
I would say my biggest lesson so far, and it wasn't a failure, but it was just something that I noticed right out the gate, is not to grow too fast. A lot of times when we are starting, it's like, yay, I'm so excited, like, let's go, it's time, like, it's finally my time. And so when people of color started to grow and we eventually started to get into retailers like Urban Outfitters, it's like, oh my gosh, like this is actually real, like we're out there now. And so I guess the lesson was learning how to say no, that every opportunity is not for your brand. You really have to take the time to make sure that whoever you're partnering with, whether it be a retailer that you might work with, even another small business, or let's even use Sweet July, for example. It's like you have to ask, about their brand culture. You have to see that it aligns with your mission and that even that your audience demographics align. You can break into new markets and reach new people through the right outlets. So learning to say no was my biggest lesson, as to not grow too fast and partner with the right people.
I love that. Success in the stillness sometimes.
Yeah.
And I guess, Christina, I'll ask you the same question. I really like this question. I feel like you can learn a lot about a business and about a person. So this by far is my favorite question so far. So we'll just keep it going. I'd love to hear what you have to say.
I think one of the I've learned is not to be afraid to pivot. I think when we start, like you have this idea and you can get to the point where you're so married to your idea to where you don't realize and see that it's not working or it's not resonating with who your target audience is. And so early on, I learned that because my brand today does not look like it does not look like what it looked like when I started in 2016 at all. Completely different products of what we have today. And I had to learn that, like, in 2018, I was like, you know what? Okay, what I'm doing, it really isn't working, right? So you have to be able to pivot, be flexible. You can't be so like married to your idea that you're just running, you know, in circles and nothing's really popping off because you're not listening to feedback. You're not listening to the market. You're not looking around you. So being able to, you know, understand that you have this idea, but reimagine it, right? Like, and what I always like told myself, even in the beginning when no one knew about our brand, when there was no like Sweet July's emailing us, was that I always knew that I wanted to add value. Like there's lots of beauty brands, there's lots of nail polish brands, there's lots of, you know, jewelry brands, but the three of us are doing something to where we're adding value to the people who are our customers. And so a lot of times you have to do something different or do something in a different way to really add value to your end customer. So that was a lesson that I learned early on, and I made that switch, and then I started seeing things, you know, happening afterwards.
That's
I
awesome.
love that. I love that. And I think it's a good statement for some of the business owners right now that might be watching. You know, we live in this age of social media and we're having to make our mistakes. We're experiencing our triumphs. We're seeing all the things in front of each other's faces. And I think sometimes it is hard to like let go of ego just a little bit and realize that you need to take a step back or you need to change something because everybody's watching.
Mm-hmm.
So oftentimes it seems like you don't have the space to do that, but I think the success really does come in taking a step back and realizing, yep, I need to pivot. And I think that's so admirable. I love it. I
Yes.
love it. Okay, so my last question for each of you before we get into these audience questions are, as Black female entrepreneurs who continue to trailblaze with the success of your companies, what do you want your legacies to be? I know that's a big question, but a very important one. And even if we don't want to use the word legacy, what do you want your impact to look like? I think is a better way to phrase it as well. So let's start with you, Jackie.
Awesome. Okay. So my impact and legacy, I would say, would be to just be an example for my children and those closest to me. I feel that when we think of impact and legacy, we think of, you know, we have to make like this life-changing impact on the whole world all at once. But if you impact the people that are closest to you and who you meet along the way, your impact to them impacts people that they meet, and it just continues. So I just want people to feel confident and happy and know that they're seen when they wear people of color nail polish and they see the colors and they read the stories and the names behind the polishes and they're like, oh, okay, like they hear me, they know me. And just having them be a part of the curation process when we do collections is what I want the legacy to be for the brand itself, is just knowing that you are loved and celebrated here. Like this is our brand together, not just me, as we grow. So yes.
I love that. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, Christina.
Legacy is such like big word. Um, so like everything that I do now, I try to like put things in a bite-sized piece. So when I think of 54 Thrones, I think of the people that came before me. I think of my ancestors. I think of my grandmothers and their mothers. And I think of like their prayers for me before I was even born. And then I also think of the young little Black and brown girls that are going to come after me, you know? And so when I do things now, I just try to do things intentional, so that I can make the people before me proud, the people that are going to come after me proud, but also to let them know that like this can be done, right? Like you can, if entrepreneurship is for you, you can do that. Like you can wear your hair in dreads, you can have, you know, bright nail polish and have your own business and be yourself, and it can work, right? You don't have to be inside of a box that we were kind of like taught as we grow up. And so when I think of legacy, I think of just really being intentional in my actions through the brand, through myself as a founder. And I think that you can kind of like build and set up that legacy every day, like in your everyday choices and decisions.
Love that. Love that. All right, Chari, you're up.
Those were two really hard ones to follow. Thanks, ladies. No, but I mean, to what the both of you said, it's just continuing to make your impact as a business owner, and you know, continuing to show that it is possible, and you can continue to work and do with hard work and persistence. That you know, you can make an impact on the people around you, and what your jewelry or your nail polish or your beauty products stand for in the space that we hold. I think for ByChari, one of the things for our legacy is just continuing to help women get through moments in time, whether it's happy, sad, you know, celebrating moments in life. Every word that a woman decides to put on her necklace, whether it's a name or a number or a date, anything, it's a moment in time for them, and continuing to hold on to that moment and that sentimental value for them. I think not only is it for them, but something that we can pass on to generations. And I think that's important for us. And that's a legacy that we want to make women feel empowered, not only just here, but all around the world. And I mean, just in the decisions that they make, I think that's important to us.
Absolutely. I love that. Well, I know my mom wears her Aki pendant every day, and she loves it so much, and it reminds her of Jamaica. So it's doing what it needs to do. And I love that. I love that. All right. Well, let's get into some of the questions from our viewers. We just have a couple here. And I think, Danielle, this is a quote that somebody put into, okay, I saw that come across the screen and I loved it. I just want to bring up a quote that somebody put in the comments. It was at Dami, D-A-M-I, and they said, hire your weaknesses. And I thought that was such an amazing, I'm tripping right now that the team wrote that quote down, because I kept playing it back in my head. So it's just fire advice. Yes, hire your weaknesses. But the question that somebody had here was, for someone thinking, and I'll let you pick who wants to take this one, or we can each give a little tidbit for them. But for someone thinking about starting a new business, what would each of you say is an important personality trait to make it happen? So should I say it again? For someone thinking about starting a new business, what would each of you say is an important personality trait to make it happen? This is a great question.
That is such a good question. And what I would say is, you know, because we're business women, but we're also like creatives, right? So you're balancing like being very analytical, but also you have like this creative, you know, kind of out of the box side to us. I'm assuming y'all do too. And so what I would say is, don't take things personal, because, you know, these brands are like our babies. You know, they've been so close to us. Like, they've been what we've depended on when we're sad, when we're happy. Like, they've been like in our journals, just years have been with us. And so when you put it out into the world and you don't necessarily get the feedback that you wanted, you know, you take it too personal. Because if you do, you're really going to lose sight of what your objective is. And you also have to realize that everyone is not going to like your stuff. And that's okay, right? Just like when you walk into a store, there's certain things that catch your eye and there's certain things that don't. So like, not taking everything to the heart, like not wearing your heart on your sleeve. You kind of like Beyonce says, she doesn't read the comments. She posts, but she doesn't read the comments. Like, you have to stay really focused and just not like get too attached and take negative feedback too personal.
Yep.
Feedback, because you don't want to get so caught up in the highs that when lows come, you lose it. So I don't know what personality trait that is, but that's like one tidbit I would say is like, roll with the punches.
I love it. I love it. It makes me think. I saw this meme the other day, and it basically said, "Don't expect everybody to like you. How can you expect everybody to like you when you don't like everybody?" And I was like, you know what?
It's true.
Fair. It's true. So yes, great advice. Nothing's personal. Oh my gosh, I think that's one of the four agreements, actually. So
Mm.
great advice. Who's
Yes.
got next?
I guess I'll go. For
Okay.
me, what I've learned is that being disciplined over motivated is more important. A lot of times when you're starting a business, you are super excited. You're very motivated at the beginning because this is something new. But when things get hard, you have to continue going. And so the motivation really isn't there. And you have to be disciplined to continue on the path and the vision that you have, especially if you are doing your business out of your house with three toddlers running around like me. And I'm just like, I still got to pack orders and cook dinner and answer emails. And these little people are asking me for everything. I just don't want to do it. But you have to just still prioritize what needs to be done, and understand that it's not really a balancing act because you can't equally do everything all at once. You have to just prioritize, be disciplined to know what you need to get done, and push through sometimes that motivation that is just not there, and do it because this is your vision that you're bringing to life.
That's great advice. It's so true, and it's so hard to say in the thick of things, but 99.9% of the time when you get through that storm and you look back, it's always almost laughable, right? It's
Yeah, and how did I do that?
exactly. Yeah. I love that. Great advice. Great advice.
Thank you.
Should we?
Do you want me to touch on that one?
Oh yeah.
There's two things I kind of always live by, and they kind of go hand in hand. One thing I'd say, even personal and business wise, I always say this to friends or people who ask me is jump, because if you jump, you either land on your feet or you land on your butt. Can I say what?
You can say it.
Either way you land. Either way you land. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, but if you don't jump, you don't know. And if you don't try, you don't know. And my second thing is resilience. Is you have to keep going. It's just, life's gonna throw everything at you, and you have to pivot, and you're gonna have to be disciplined, and you just have to keep going. And it's a combination, I think, of so many things. There isn't just like one trait that us as entrepreneurs have. It's the facets. We're all multifaceted, and that's one of my favorite words to use, especially, I guess it kind of goes hand in hand with jewelry, but it's, as entrepreneurs and as women, it comes with so many angles. We just have to figure out ways to balance it to make it beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that. On the heels of that, I think if I could give one thing to everybody watching, it'd be this new term that's floating around. I was doing an interview the other day, and I got asked if I ever fall victim to imposter syndrome, and I didn't know what imposter syndrome was. And when I looked it up, I was baffled, and I was like, yes, I do. I do it all the time. And I've started to bring myself to a place now, since understanding that that's actually a thing and realizing that I'm not alone, was like, you know what? No, I can't fall victim to imposter syndrome. I had an idea. I'm here to put in the work, and I'm capable of doing it. And I think always remembering that when something comes from a place of passion and love, and you enjoy what you do, the rest can kick rocks. So I think that's my advice right there. And I believe we have one more question if you guys have time. Does everybody have time? Okay.
Yep.
This is a great one. How has community helped progress your business?
Love that one. I guess
Yes.
I'll
You want to
start.
start? Yeah.
Community for people of color is literally was my vision for the brand, because how can you say people of color and say it just be me? I as one person, am not a people. So it was because I'm telling stories from people literally from all over the world. It had to be a community because I'm telling their stories through the nail polish. So from our social media, mostly all of the pictures on our social media and on our website are all of our customers and supporters that use our products. It's not, a bunch of, not saying that obviously, brands can't use stage photos and things like that, but for us, it was just showcasing and celebrating the people that were celebrating and supporting us. And so for us, community is literally the embodiment of our brand and what we just try to give back to those who support and, share us and talk about us. Thank you.
Love it. Love it. Wonderful. Chari, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Where do I even start? I mean, community, not only just family, friends, and physical community around you, but even just our social media community and our digital community has been a key part of the growth and the foundation of our business. We couldn't do it without them. I mean, it's how we continue to spread the word about who we are as business and what we stand for. And we had an amazing year last year, and that was just community. That was Black women holding each other up and supporting each other during a hard time. Last year, as we all know, so many people didn't have jobs or anywhere to go, and just having a community of us being able to bring people in that we needed to hire and provide jobs, it's so important, and it continues to grow every day, and we continue to support in any ways that we can. And we try to give back as much to other communities, which is a part of the business that we're also trying to grow right now as well.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Love it.
Community for us is really a big part of it. Asked this question because it made me think back, like every different African country that I've traveled to, one of the common threads is that everything is done as a group, as a community. Like decisions are made as a community in the different cooperatives, right? The elders come together and make decisions. And so these African beauty rituals that we share through our brand are done in community. One of our products is a Moroccan soap called Beldi, and it's what women in Morocco and Northern Africa, they use, and they all go to the hammam, which is like the community kind of spa house, with their little like bag of Beldi soap, and that's where they sit with each other and like catch up, and they like, bathe themselves and exfoliate, and so many things are done as a unit. And that's one thing that I feel whenever I'm in any African country, like I can feel the love, the togetherness. And so 54 Thrones is bigger than me, it's bigger than my experiences. And what I love the most is that when we share, our stories and share our videos and our photos from our travels, there's so many people that write us and, DM us, and I read the DMs and that comment and are like, wow, I'm African-American. I didn't know this about this country. Like I'm learning about where I come from through, what you guys are sharing. And so like that touches me the most because so many Black Americans don't really know where they come from in Africa or where they come from in the Caribbean. And so to be able to share that with our community, it's really like why we're doing this, like why we name our products what we name them, and why we're going to the source to create something that's going to be bigger than me, bigger than my stories, and that people can actually like take and learn and share with their family and their community.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. And I think this right here is, my answer to this question. I love the fact that I get to bring strong, powerful, beautiful women in business, doing amazing things for the community. I mean, I've learned so much. It's been such a great opportunity for me with my business to be able to take a step back and listen often. I think has been so nice when it comes to me as a businesswoman and me with my personal growth, spiritual growth, whatever you want to call it. all of the things, this sense of community means so much to me. And I feel like it helps my business every second of the day because I'm constantly learning. And I think it's our job as human beings in general to just take a step back sometimes and listen and see what we can gain from one another. And just become like this collective effort to lift one another up and make each other stronger. And it's a beautiful thing to be a part of. So I appreciate all three of you for taking the time out of your day. I know everybody's schedules are hectic, but hopefully our listeners, viewers today learned a lot. I know I did. And so just thank you so much. And to everybody watching, thank you. Everybody watching at home, we'll put all the links up to all the things and maybe do a little recap of some of the bars that were dropped today because it was pretty awesome. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Until next time, thank you.
Bye.
Okay, bye. I don't want to end it yet because is it going to ask me to save?